Now I'm recording video. See if that does anything when I try to sync them up later.
That's great.
I don't know if
It won't be on my
Just
side. Because you sync the audio.
About knocked my head off, though. Yeah.
That was great.
Anyway, hi, everybody. This is Brent. That's Bryce. Twins on Tech. We're going to talk a little bit today about life hack type things, technology related. I don't know how many you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that I put down here. These aren't really life hacks, to be quite honest with you, that I got. And I've done most of these, but I don't necessarily do them all the time. But anyway, I don't want to really jump into those yet. Do you have anything you want to say before we kind of jump into the topic of technology life hacks?
No, not really. Just no, that's about it. Welcome to episode, right. What are we on, 9?
Good talk. I don't know. Yes, it is. It says 9 right there.
Hopefully we'll have our audio situation fixed by maybe episode 15 or 20. That'd be nice. No promises, but that's kind of what we're shooting for. What's odd is it almost always sounds fine on my side. And I'm assuming it's the stereo mix down. So one thing I noticed last week I guess 2 weeks ago, we actually missed last week. That was my fault. Had some stuff that came up here. So I didn't end up taking a lunch the day that we were supposed to be shooting this. I think what's happening, so again, I'm using this Audio-Technica microphone, and it's recording. XLR microphones are typically mono, which I believe is the left channel if I'm remembering correctly. But this actually records on both the left and the right channel onto the camera, because although it's XLR here, excuse me, on the other end, it's a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary, which is stereo, 3.5 millimeter stereo auxiliary. So I've noticed the wavelength inside Audition is almost reversed on the right channel for what it is on the left channel. And maybe that's in here, your typical XLR is what's called a balanced system. So they send it like this on purpose so that if there's any interference along the way, they cancel the interference out, anything that's introduced. But here's the kicker. I think this is why you were hearing and a few others were hearing like this garbled stuff and not me. When I mixed them down to mono, which is one of the tests that we did, well, now I'm laying, something that does this on top of something that does the opposite. I can't twist my arms that way, thus canceling the actual signal out. So the only thing that was picked up in the final audio was something that was separate, was different from that. So if they're just a fraction off, that's why you hear a little bit of muffle, but instead of not the actual audio. That's a total guess based off of just what I know of audio, which is not nearly as much as I would like to. It's amazing the more you get into it. Wow, the more I realize I don't know anything about audio. Man, alive. All those other podcasts and stuff that are out there that talk about it, they're just like, yeah, click here, do that. You're going to sound like you're on the radio. I'm like, no. I still sound like I've been smoking or had been kicked in the throat. So, I don't know. I can't
sound like me when you did that. Yeah, so what he's talking about, I've got like these Earpods is a good example because right now I'm just receiving left. If I were to take it out, I would just be receiving right. So on a few videos, the last 2 or 3 maybe, if I just had one in, I couldn't hear Bryce. Or like you mentioned the garbled sound. It was almost like when you get a really bad cell connection, you kind of hear almost like you're talking through bubbly water is what it really kind of sounded like. But you could tell you're talking, but super faint. So the audio was there, but really not audible. But when I plugged in both, if I had both of these things in so that I looked like some crazy rock star, old man rock star, who must have 2 earrings, then I could hear you because I was getting both left and right at the same time. So when it was pushing stereo, I heard it. I could hear it fine on my television. I could hear your audio fine on my television. I could hear it fine directly out of my phone. But when I just had one of these in, I couldn't. And oddly enough, on my iPad, Maybe because it has a left and right. I don't know.
Stereo. Because you have the iPad Pro, right?
Right. 12.9. But through the iPad, because I sent you a video of it, it only got the one side. It only played rather the one side. So when I played the speakers on it. So there was some weird anomalies going on there. But you usually got those worked out, and we got them pushed up. So there's that.
Well, we got it worked out, but we didn't upload it because you didn't want to lose the 3 or 4 view counts that we already had.
If I'm not mistaken, on the last video I looked yesterday, 0 views. So we're killing it.
8?
So I assumed you did overwrite it. Yeah.
No.
I could be wrong. Maybe it was another one.
I don't know.
Anyway, I need to watch it. Therefore, we at least have 1 view.
That'd be nice. Help us out, will you?
Yeah. All right. I'll try to do that. I don't think it'll help the monetization, the whole half a quarter of a trillionth of a penny.
Well, I'm currently not doing this for monetization, which is good because we're not getting anything.
Yes,
but I don't plan on monetization being the reason, even in a year or 2 from now, because I mean, if I'm going into it with that purpose, then we're heading this banter back and forth is already wasting time. We should be looking on the internet to what people actually care about. But the whole point of this is we talk about what we care about. If others want to join in, fantastic. But again,
and you have to have there needs to be some. There would have to be some, or we benefit anyway from some marketing involved. There's some ways to build communities, and again, we're not going after that because we're not trying to dig too much and take up too much of our time. This is supposed to be, ideally anyway, 30 minutes to maybe an hour a week of our time. I enjoy it. It hasn't been a burden yet, but if you get into those other things, that can turn it into a burden when you start making it businessy, especially if that business stuff doesn't pan out. So we'll see. well,
also then you have the community. The community, begins to expect obviously quality, but a certain turnaround time, things to be different. What's that?
So there'd be a little trouble there quality-wise. They might want to wait off till about episode 25, or I don't know.
I would say for the first few, for being so green in all of this, we're actually doing quite well. I have seen a lot of podcasts that look fantastic now, but it took a year or 2 to kind of, I've seen ones where they're like how-tos on how to make a podcast, and they're horrible. And I don't mean the content. Right. The content's okay. I'm talking about the quality is terrible. They're either using a mic that's underpowered, or they boosted it, but they didn't do any noise correction, or they're just using the camera microphone, which is always horrible. I mean, the fact that they still have it is just baffling to me. Well, I guess I know. I thought I saw dust on the lens. I guess I know why they have it, but still, it's useless, really, at least for what we're doing. Thus, you like when I do that? Thus, the microphone to make things sound better, even if the video was not as good, which might help us look better. If the sound is good.
My blurry videos definitely helped me look better, that's for sure.
It did, but I got a little bit of a headache. I kind of had to just look either at me or at the corner or something because
just looking at me too long, from what I've heard, will give people headaches anyway. So I should just pass out Advil as I walk up to people. Hi, my name is Brent. Here's some Advil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
anyway, you want to roll into this?
Life hacks. Well, and by the way, hacks. Yeah, I suggested tech hacks. So things that we've done with all of our nerd equipment or bits and pieces of it. How do we make them into life hacks? I was going to talk about my headphones, which because I took all the brain power that I had to remember the mic stand, I forgot the headphones. And I forgot to write down. Yeah, I need that next. I forgot to write down in that document that we use what I have. So then you'd be able to remind me. So maybe you can give yours, and if it sparks something on my side, fantastic. If not, then next week. I promise.
I don't. Let's hold off on the promises. Yeah. It is being recorded, this promise of yours.
That's all right. I'm okay.
So
it's just the internet.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll read through mine real fast. And these are, to call them tech hacks, at least the majority of them. Like there's nothing in here where I put this thing together with that thing and made the third thing that I needed.
Just the internet's
because I haven't done
a hack.
Yeah, I haven't done too much lately, and by lately, in the span of my memory, which only spans a short amount of time.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, about that, if I'm fortunate. Anyway, I'll start from top down and I'll read it and then I'll explain a little bit. The first one is super obvious for a lot of people. I don't use Bluetooth speakers because I don't feel like dropping $50 to $100 on a rolled up, balled up sock size speaker to amplify audio. Yeah, about the size of a fist.
Yeah.
So what we do sometimes is if we're in our kitchen and we're listening to something as a family, the good old drop your phone in a cup to amplify the sound.
Yeah.
Now we want to be clear, don't have anything in the cup. You want it to be
not a glass of water.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if your phone is waterproof. Yeah, if your phone is waterproof, you could probably dip it for science reasons, but you're not going to get too much amplification out of it.
No.
But so that's something. Yeah, we do that fairly frequently, or at least I do it. I don't even know if the family notices, or they're wondering why I'm dipping my phone in my drinks. But
getting a visitor.
But it.
Something wrong with your keys in there? Huh? Something wrong with your keys in there? No, I think it was unlocked. Yeah, I think I unlocked it when I came in. Yeah, come here. Here, stand over here. Oh, that's gonna fall.
Should I pause my recording?
No. Well, if you look here, this is my twin brother.
Hey, twin brother.
No, that's Dennis. You're my twin brother.
Oh, okay.
He said hi, twin brother. He's in Kentucky. We do a podcast, so I take my Friday lunches. Today's my Friday to do a podcast.
Oh,
so it's about 25 minutes long. That's okay. It's going to be a great diversion because it's pretty boring. So this would be a nice little addition to it.
no, nice.
Yeah.
I think he just said I was boring.
That's right. I can't. I'm still waiting for that on-air light to arrive so we can put it on the outside. See ya, Dennis. All right. That was my boss.
Hey, boss. All right. So louder audio.
Louder audio in a cup. Yes. By the way,
simple.
Just a quick, if you ever want to drop $20, because it goes on sale all the time. I forget who makes it, but it's called the Oonce. Like if you're listening to techno, Oonce. It's
UNTZ, I believe.
OONZE.
I was wrong.
It's about 6 inches long in a triangle shape, just in case you don't know what a triangle. Battery lasts about 10 to 12 hours on a charge, and it sounds surprisingly good. It has a 3.5 millimeter in, so you can actually plug a device into it, or you can do Bluetooth, and it gets loud enough. I wouldn't say loud enough to actually be distorted, which.
All right. So you were talking about a speaker, but I don't know how much we captured.
Yeah, I'll start over. We got interrupted by my boss because, again, I do this during my lunch here at work. And then I was talking about a speaker called the Oonce, and then my battery died. Round two. Or what is it? We need a clapper. Take two. So, yeah, the Oonce, OONZE, I believe is what it is. I got it off of Amazon. Normally, it's like $30, maybe $40. So it's already not too bad for the quality that you get. But if you don't like to spend anything, I can guarantee you the quality is better than the cup. I'm not sure if you're using porcelain or plastic or glass, but I would dare say it's better than all of those. And it goes on sale. Have you ever heard of camel.com? Ran out of breath there. So if you go to camel, it's camel 3 times, .com. It has popular products and a few other things. But you can, if you find something on Amazon, you can drop that Amazon link into camel on the inside. And then it tells you the history, the pattern of prices going up and down.
For everything or for that particular model?
For the link that you're putting in it. So, for instance, when I put in this camera, I was trying to see if it ever really dipped in price, which it did, but not by a lot. Then it told me kind of the pattern, and I noticed, okay, well, it looks like once a month it went on sale. Again, it wasn't a huge sale, but if I just waited 2 more weeks, it would probably go on sale. And it did. I ended up not buying it because I bought body only and a bunch of... So anyway, I went a different route. So anyway, I got carried away, so I apologize. But the point is, if you wanted to kind of see if there is a pattern for if this thing goes on sale, or any other Bluetooth speaker for that matter, I think we have 3 or 4 at home. The Ounce is the only one that we purchased because of what I do and what my wife does. We've gotten a few of those small little round ones that are, honestly, your cups might sound better, but at least they amplify, and they give you something to do. So they're like in the kids' rooms for their stuff. But
we have two like that are those round ones. One is, round, almost half a sphere is what I mean by that. Not so much a tube.
Oh,
those small tubes or drum-looking things.
Yeah.
But one is in the shower, like soap on a rope, but Bluetooth speaker on a rope. And then another one, but I think Melanie got them from her work or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of companies give them away free or inexpensively. This one is our favorite, only not because it sounds good. Talking about the round one, because whenever you plug it in to charge it, or when it's dying, it says your Bluetooth device needs charges, and we like that. So every time we connect Bluetooth, we always try to talk in that accent. Anyways, Ounce Angle is what it's called. Ounce Angle. There might even be a number after it. I'm not sure. Number 3 or something. I can throw a link up in a little bit or post, inside the video. But it goes on sale for quite a bit. I paid about $19 for it, and it's pretty great. I use it quite often. So just a suggestion for your cup situation. What's next on your list?
The next one I have is, as a parent, we have young ones, and you have young ones, not super young anymore, but as people that have kids, they get sick a lot. So this is a super simple thing. I think I said simple.
Super simple?
Super simple. Where maybe I've got a thickness. That's just simply toss a remote control in a plastic bag before you give it to them when they're sick. That's almost it's a simple. When your kid is sick, he's at home. He or she's at home, maybe quarantined to a specific location, but they need some type of activity. Typically, that activity is watching television or something like that, so they don't get spread that germ across the house. Toss the remote in a plastic baggie so that they can still use the remote, but when they're no longer sick, you just take it out, or if you want to use it, you take it out, and you don't have the germs all over the remote. So that is it's a tech hack in that a remote is involved. But
life hack.
That'd
be a life hack.
Life hacks, well, sure.
Do the same if you go to a hotel, I would assume.
Say what now?
A hotel.
I got you that. What would you say before that?
Do the same. Do the same if you go to a hotel.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the best place to use it, because then you get all kinds of germs.
Who knows?
Hopefully I don't know what they call them nowadays, housekeepers, maids. I don't know what the politically correct term is, but I'd like to think they
We don't worry about that here. They're maids.
Sure. Okay. Email Bryce at twinzonetech.com. Don't actually email that. That's not a real email address. The other one is I don't run out of battery too much anymore, but what I used to do is just merely put the phone in airplane mode to charge. Because if I'm at work, I can't really look at or use my phone anyway. So if I need a quick charge, it'll charge it up faster. So that's just a simple adjustment to how you charge something, which is, you might think that, well, if you're not using it, you charge it, it'll charge anyway. But if you don't notice it and you've got 10 minutes to get out the door, that'll go a fair bit longer. It'll give a better charge in that time frame when those extra radios are turned off. So that's an additional thing.
Yeah.
Something that I've used a lot is for headphones that have a play pause button. Use that for taking pictures.
Yeah.
It's an excellent way because, when you push on the shutter on your camera, it will move a little bit. Most phones if it's a decent phone, will try to account for that. But not all of them. And if you're trying to take a lot of pictures and you don't just hold the shutter down, but you do this a lot, move that finger a lot, then you're giving yourself a little wiggle.
Yeah.
So
wiggle.
Just use I'm going to have that song stuck in my head. Thank you very much.
Terrible. We don't listen to that kind of music, people.
Of course not. We're better than that. But that's just a simple thing to do as well. Yeah. Use the headphone, the one that has the play pause again.
And you have to make sure, of course,
to the extent of having
the camera app that I was going to grab it, but it's way over there. The camera app that you're using needs to support it.
Right.
And because not all do.
And you may have
to. Go ahead.
You may have to turn on a setting for it as well if it does, depending on the
right.
app. Yeah.
Right. And in some cases, and this is iPhone and Android, in some cases, like this is a Bluetooth one. This will actually work as well. I know on the iPhone it works with the built-in app. It just like the wired version, it's not 100% all the way through for the Bluetooth. But a Bluetooth, so it's wireless, would even work as well. I'm not 100% sure how you would do that with your situation, but
you can't with the AirPods. The AirPods are limited in that factor. Yeah.
Okay, so you can't use the AirPods.
You might be able to use Siri. You might be able to use Siri to take a picture, but I haven't.
Siri,
tried.
take a picture.
Can say, that's sorry.
She's not listening.
Yeah, okay. She can't hear you. She will if you ask her to take a selfie. She will turn on the front-facing camera. That's a little additional tip for you, but she won't actually take the picture.
She won't?
I suppose since we're not for me. If I say hello, Shiri, you think that tricked her?
I think so. Tricked mine.
Yeah. Take a selfie. They will turn the phone on, turn the camera on rather, and turn on the front-facing camera, but it will not in fact take the picture. Android phones, I believe, will, depending on the phone, of course.
Yeah, it's their huge advert. We saw a few movies recently, and right there on the 4,000-foot screen, I'm rounding, for the Google Pixel, they were a lot of, I mean, knowing what phones actually do and don't do and what terminology means. Well, I'm not what that word means, but what the terms that they're using mean. Wow, they are stretching the truth in a lot of ways on those ads. But they're great phones. You know, if you don't mind a little burn-in on the screen, they're great phones.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't? Everybody loves it. Let's see. These last two, you're talking about stretching definitions. This may be stretching definitions of technology. I suppose, again, technology because it's up against technology. But not too long ago, my wife found herself in a situation where she needed gas and she was not at home. And I had forgotten to bring things to assist with that. And so now my daughter happened to be with her and has Apple Pay. And so we were able to get her to a spot that takes Apple Pay for gas and so forth. And so
do you have a lot of those, by the way?
Not a lot, no. Okay. In the city we live, town magistrate, whatever this would be called, it's certainly not large.
It's probably a magistrate. Yeah,
sure, of course. Yeah. No, there's none out here. In the city where we work, there's one that I can think of.
Okay.
Are you going to be able to get over that?
No, I'm going to laugh the rest of the episode. Keep going.
But in the other city that we go to frequently, there are a few. Myers gas stations. I don't know if you have Myers grocery stores out there. They're like super Walmarts, basically. We have both because we're big like that. But they have Apple Pay gas stations. And, of course, there's stuff like Panera or McDonald's if you don't like yourself or your family.
Yeah. But Panera can't give you gas. Well, it can give you gas,
depends,
but not necessarily for your car.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. But anyway, the hack, if we're going to call it that, is if you have a case on your phone. No. If you have a case, hug that microphone. Hug it, baby. There is did I make it weird? I apologize.
That's a little
cut that out.
I got a little uncomfortable. That's all right. I just
cut that
it was the heat in the room.
Sure, it is hot in here, but put some cash. Put some cash behind your case, in your case, behind your phone.
Yes.
A little emergency cash. That's just a little idea. Yeah. Call it a life hack if you will. Maybe a tech hack brushed up against tech. But put a little cash back there for emergencies. And therefore, literally try to forget about it until you get scared because you're in an emergency and you need the money. But toss a little something back there. Even if it's only $10, even if it's only $1, it's not going to get you a lot of gas. But, whatever you have, that's that you can call extra for now, toss it in there for an emergency. And you maybe want to do that with your kids if your kids have cell phones. Certainly if you have kids and they have phones, hopefully they have cases on them. Because if they're like mine, they drop the thing. And then the last thing is...
Well, let's pause on that for a second. Because you mentioned even if it's just as low as $1, if it's for gas purposes, I recommend, and I'm thinking of where we live, at least $5. $1 is about a quarter of a gallon. which admittedly will get you maybe to the next gas station, depending.
You're at $4 there.
It's about $4 out here. Yeah,
about $2.30 here. So,
well, yeah. So $1 gets you about almost a half gallon. But if you had $5, in our case, gets you a gallon. In your case, almost 2 gallons. So, $2.30 would be. But just kind of think it through. What would you potentially need it for? If you can afford, a $20 bill. I know people who use $100 bills. I can't afford $100 bills. So I don't use it now. Well, my phone, I'm looking for my phone. It's right there. I have one of those. It's only a $7 case on Amazon, but it's a really thin one. So it's just more like a skim coat, if you will, on the phone. You couldn't fit $1 in there unless I maybe folded once. But a single bill is what I recommend. A single bill, not more than one.
Mm-hmm. And 100, you may be, now, if you only know about it, that's fine. If it gets to the point where others know about it, you certainly don't want to make yourself a target. So
yeah, well, that is another key is, don't tell anybody. That's why you're putting it behind your phone. It's more of a secret location. Obviously, if you have a clear phone case, it might not be such, you're not really fooling anybody. So a lot of cases out there, we've got a lot of friends out here who have those cases with the little stars or whatever that float through in some liquid, but you can still see the phone on the other end of it. So if you had $1 bill in there or $5 or 20 or whatever, it's going to be visible. So yeah. Right. But anyways, it was a good idea. I like it. It's a good life hack, tech hack, because it's with your phone, but also for, I'm concerned about energy preparedness. No, emergency. Well, prepare for your energy needs as well.
Sure,
is
absolutely.
Necessary.
Right.
I've got batteries here. But emergency preparedness. It's always good to have some cash with you. Card system might go down, Apple Pay, which I prefer to use everywhere. I bought a scanner the other day. Yep, they still exist. Film scanner. And I use my Apple Pay.
Scanner.
Yeah. What? Not built into the printer, but it's like literally standalone flatbed. I can put negatives and slides in it and stuff. So that's cool. But anywho, it's a good way to have. That's why I wear this. It's a little paracord with a little hook on the end. Here at work, I actually use it to lash things to a hand truck dolly. Otherwise, I wear it around looking like a nice aging rock star, which is one of the looks I'm going for.
Of course, you look like one of the Beach Boys with that shirt going on.
Well,
it's one of the younger ones. If that makes you feel better,
it does.
And the last thing is just because you work directly with, and I work in a roundabout way.
Hold on a second. Am I doing it right? Who'd that look like?
I don't have any idea.
Oh, you didn't see the meme of Donald Trump?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he had a water bottle. He was how do I do this?
You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss.
He didn't miss, which was good.
It could get messy. Anyway, so if your device is having problems, no matter what that device is, before you go calling somebody for help, try to restart it. Just restart it.
Yeah.
So that's just a simple thing. The phone, they apply, some of your phones apply updates behind the scenes if you have it set to automatically update your computers, certainly. Whatever it is. And even TVs, if they're the type that connect via Wi-Fi. And a lot of the times, those things don't properly get installed or updated. Of course, you could probably speak a lot more to this type of a thing. But just a simple first try doesn't always work, but just merely restart the device. Sometimes unplug it, wait 10, 15 seconds, plug it back in, and then restart it. But just a simple thing. Just restart it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's one of the first things in computer technology-based support. Restart it. Whether it's someone calls in and says they can't print, restart your computer. If I were to call Cisco or HP about a switch or a wireless access point or something else, they're going to ask me, have I restarted it? So, it goes all the way up. Phones and tablets are basically computers. So, shutting them down, I would say at least once a week. Push the power button, slide, let it go off, count to 30, turn it back on. Maybe before you do it, on whatever device you have, close all the applications that are open. I know my wife went through hers the other day, and I think I saw her do this about 48 times, which is so on iOS device, that's how you close things. That takes up memory, that can slow things. And if something's buggy in the background, it's going to affect what's on the front. Close them all out, restart. So it's a good one. It's important to do.
There are some that say you shouldn't have to on iOS close those things, but I have seen firsthand where there can be something in the background causing issues. So.
Yeah. They're still taking some sort of resource. Even if it's minuscule adds up to a lot of SQL. I think it's
that's sure it is. Absolutely. We coined it here. A lot of SQL. Yeah. So last little thing, this is something I just thought of because of the restart. Of course, you have the press your power button and slide to turn off. This is iOS related. And it's assistive touch. I don't know if you've ever looked into that in the accessories. A lot of people might find it annoying. Basically what it does, especially if you have an iPhone 10. Do. Well, you don't have a 10, but you have an 8, unless you've got a 10.
Oh, you're talking about the phone. I thought you meant iOS 10.
iOS in general. I'm saying if you have an iPhone 10, I don't know specifically if this will work because I have not looked.
Okay.
But any other iPhone, the restart, you can do just like you said, press the power button, slide to power off, and then power it back on in a minute. There is, of course, you might refer to it as a hard reset. Press and hold the home button and the power button until it goes off and then comes back on with the Apple logo. That's supposed to be some type of reset. But in a lot of cases, a simple restart. And also, a lot of people don't like the way that you take a screenshot on iOS. So what I've done, and maybe now that the new version of iOS 11 has screen recording, maybe I'll take a little video of this.
Yeah.
I have, if you go into General and then Accessibility and then Assistive Touch, it basically puts a little floaty home button software-wise on your screen, and you can slide it, move it all over the place. And then you can put in there what you use frequently or want access to. And I have in mind just 4 things. I don't know if I remember all of them. One of them is screenshot, so I don't have to bother with touching the 2 buttons. I can use one finger and take a screenshot. The other is restart. You can just simply, I tap it and I can hit restart. So 2 taps, or I can restart my phone. I do not recall what the other 2 are. I only have 4. It will, by default, give you 6 options, just whatever it gives you. Yeah. But you can change those around. So just go in and play with those settings for whatever you want. You can also put in, if you have a newer iPhone, it'll do something on 3D touch. So I've thought about making that my screenshot. Just simply press and hold 3D touch, and that will just give it a screenshot. I know my wife she frequently takes screenshots, but because of the phone case, her buttons aren't really clicky very well. So she has to really mash that power button, and she's always turning the phone off, or at least putting it to sleep.
She's not taking screenshots of text messages, is she?
No. Well,
that's the thing out here. People do that. It drives me crazy. Really? You're just trying to catalog the whole conversation?
Right. I don't believe so. But I mean, that might even lead to another thing, because you can, especially with a new version of iOS, you can, instead of screenshotting, you can save something out and then create a PDF with it, which is a better way. But there's a bunch of different ways. But not even talking about PDFs. Just if you're on a web page, turn that web page into a PDF if you want that information. But if you do want to screenshot it, that's a fast way, and in my opinion, better than having to hold 2 buttons to get a screenshot or whatever other things you want done.
So if you do that, because this home button is sitting on your screen, does that get captured as well?
No, I don't believe so. At least on the ones that I've seen, I did not see it. So I would assume across all variations it would not be there. I have not tested it with phone recording to see if that button stays there. Not phone recording, screen recording.
Yeah.
So it may or may not at that point. One other thing, and I haven't seen this in the settings, I would prefer it to not be there when the phone is locked, but it is.
Yeah.
But I haven't, so the only one thing I suppose that I don't like from that is that someone could restart my phone. Not that that would really affect anything, I don't guess. But even if it's locked,
it doesn't ask for your passcode or anything?
No, it doesn't. Now, I haven't set it to do anything that might require the passcode to my knowledge. However, I would prefer if it's going to restart, I would prefer at that point it to verify that I am in fact the device's owner. But
the good news is once it comes back up, it's going to prompt for the PIN code.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So there's still some security there.
Right. So that's just a little thing. And for instance, the screenshot will work on the homepage. You can if your home button is broken, you can also set that there. That's why it's there to begin with. And you can literally make that a home button. So if you're on tapping the screen doesn't give you your ability to put your PIN number in if your home button is broken. But if you put that assistive touch there, one of those options, whether it's 3D touch or when you touch it, it expands out to more things.
Right.
One of those things can be home. And so you just touch that button, touch home, and then your PIN number or the numbers come up for you to enter your PIN number. So,
yeah,
it is an option.
It's a good one. Nice. And so
but it's only iOS. Sorry, Android folks, but that's Android. That's iPhone.
Yeah, with Android, they have so many. Of course, you have the default stock Android. You have Samsung has the skin. You have
almost everybody has something. Yeah.
LG and HTC. They have their own. A lot of them, you can actually wipe it out and put on just the, you can, what's it called? Root the phone. And then
I've done that once.
Put on
it's pretty fun.
just the stock. I think Samsung's, the super popular ones are, but there's a million Samsung versions out there. They're still making brand new
they're
ones.
Not stock.
They're just old ones.
The popular ones aren't stock, but they used to sell some that were.
The popular Samsungs?
Yeah, they used to sell.
I'm not talking about that they are stock. I'm saying the popular ones, people build ROMs so that you can root them to stock. Yeah. Or other versions. I work with a guy who, I forget the name of what he uses, but he has I think he has a OnePlus, might be a OnePlus 2. And
those are pretty close to stock anyway, those OnePluses.
They are, but he has a very specific
ROM loaded to use. Yeah.
So anyways. All right, well, I don't have too much to add. I'll add some more next week. One of my favorite things to do, though, and there's a downside to it. So here are some of my keys. I always have a flash drive on my keychain because although phones and tablets do a lot of things wirelessly nowadays, at least in the iOS world, when you plug it in, unless you have a specific app that's running, you can't just drag and drop stuff to it. There's a cumbersome process involved. You can use Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever Microsoft calls theirs this week, OneDrive, I think still, or a number of other services. But this is just simply, it's archaic by today's standards. But this is only an 8 gig, so it's not meant to be moving movies around or anything, but just small files. I also carry on it that's a SIM ejector tool. I work on some phones every now and again, so I do that. And then the other thing I have here is because I have the 8 Plus, so if you have a 7 Plus or 7 or higher, you don't have the headphone jack, but it ships with this guy. Mm-hmm. You can buy these online, and it's just simply a 3.5 millimeter going through a key ring. This actually I made because we had a bad cable. So I cut it off. I pulled the wires out, drilled a small hole, and then now that just sits on my keychain everywhere I go. And I say that's a good thing / bad thing because if you're like me, I sit at some seats. Apparently, I'm a little wider downstairs than I am upstairs. So my butt pushes the keys out like by the armrest areas of the seats that I sit in. Sometimes my keys get stuck. And if I think about it, I can reach down there and I can get them out of the way. Other times they've actually ripped the headphone thing off but again, it pulls out, it doesn't break, but I have to remember to look for it. This is my second one, however, because
due to this issue.
Well, no, it's actually, it's a memory issue. I went all through, we had a trip to New York, went to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, riding the subway, riding a bus, and a car we rented, in seats, in restaurants, yada, yada. It was there the entire trip. Come home, go to work. Some of what I do is have to pull cabling for data or for audio video related things. I was in an attic. So I'm pretty sure one of these locations is a little mini flashlight and my little headphone adapter in the ceiling. Because if I'm doing audio, I test it with my phone. Well, now that I don't have a headphone jack, I have to use the adapter. So I'm pretty sure, and I think I even know what room it's in. I just have to remember to go get it. in the attic by the wall is a flashlight. It's only a $7 flashlight off of Amazon, so not crazy, but so that is the downside. Because it's one extra thing to have, it's also something to remember. And that's why. So I would like to eventually, they're $10. It's not crazy. It's one of the less expensive things that Apple's has. I would like to have one or two at work, one on my keychain, one in the car, one in my work vehicle, one in every bag that I use. I have a personal bag. I've got a work bag. So just to scatter them about, because it's not like you could just cut off the end of a standard lightning cable and then attach a 3.5 to the other side, or female on the other side. There's a little DAC inside of these that's not in a standard lightning cable. So it is kind of specific, unfortunately. But that's my main life hack for today, or tech hack. I might, like, if you could do a recording of your thing, I might. Are we running out of time? I've got 28 minutes on mine.
Exactly. I've got, so we have just under 2 minutes.
Okay.
Until I shut it down.
I'll try to shoot, if I can, a quick video of my headphones where I put the Bluetooth on the side. It was an easy thing to do, a fun thing to do. And then I'll update the document with a few others. During this conversation, some have popped into my head. So I'll look at those, and if I don't make another video that we can then make, that could be next week's episode. At the very least, we can look at, bringing it in, a little show and tell. Maybe set a reminder for myself to actually bring it in. All right. Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think that's good for today. We will see everyone next week.
See ya.